Hello there, in this video I'm going to go over some things that might really annoy cubers. If you're curious where I got these prompts, a while ago I asked on Instagram because I had a particular moment that was really annoying for me, and I was curious what you guys find really annoying. As we all know, there are definitely frustrating moments in cubing, so let's just go through them. Firstly, and I think this one comes up a lot, atrocious lockups with the cry face emoji. That is so true. I feel like even though now cubing hardware has gotten so advanced and so good, probably big cubes are where this happens most. Some of the big cubes, if you misalign a layer and you're not really paying attention and then suddenly you turn the whole cube is falling apart, that's problematic. Ooh, this one is good. People thinking I'll have good advice. I kind of relate to this one. I think that sometimes people are like, oh my god, how do I get this? Or how do I get sub 20? How do I get sub 15? What am I supposed to do to get better? And the answer is always it depends, and there's no like blanket statement to help people. So I kind of feel bad when I'm like, well, it depends, you gotta practice, you gotta learn, and things like that. Not being able to solve the cube. Interesting capitalization there, hee. I agree, not being able to solve the cube is annoying and I find a lot of joy in it, so I like solving it. Pops and lockups, absolutely. Cubes are 3D objects, I suppose, so they sometimes pop, they sometimes lock up, they sometimes explode, which can be annoying. And also, I don't know if you can hear the ice cream truck in the background, so it's starting to get warm around here. Keeping hardware clean, breaking pieces, and one piece away from a big blind success. I can't speak to the big blind because I'm terrible at blind, but breaking pieces is absolutely true, especially a few years ago. I feel like a lot of big cubes had pieces with really thin stalks, if you guys know what I'm talking about, where like it goes into the center of the cube, and they were so thin that if you did a really bad turn, they would just break, and what am I supposed to do with one piece that's broken? And thirdly, I suppose I went in backwards order here, keeping hardware clean. I agree with this. Sometimes, I don't know how it happens, I'll clean my cubes once a year, every 2 years or something, and there's like hair in the core. How did that get there? When I'm cubing, I'm not like shedding into the cube, or when you go to clean the cube and you see stuff like there's like black stuff inside the cube. Where did this come from? Messing up during a parody. 100% agree. This has happened to me slightly more recently because I haven't done 4x4 or 6x6 in a while, so the parody algs I would sometimes mess up, and they're really annoying because you're literally at the last step and then you screw up the whole cube and you gotta solve the center, solve the edges all over again. 6x6 explosions. 100% agree. Even cubes are already annoying as is, and when they explode, getting the pieces in the center to go back are really annoying. When you take a break from cubing and then forget almost all of CFOP and relearn algs. I definitely feel this for me personally. It's like 12 algs that I learned a couple months ago. I should have been practicing those, but I haven't. So for some reason, I know all my other ZBL algs that I've learned in the past, which is not all of them obviously, but all the ones that I have learned in the past. But the most recent ones I learned, I don't remember, so I'm gonna have to relearn them. Not getting faster. That is completely true. There are definitely periods of time where there's a couple months where nothing clicks. I feel like I've hit this wall and you don't get faster. Practice doesn't make you faster, and you just don't know what to do, and it's annoying and it's frustrating. Oh, this one is good. Finding pieces. And I completely get this. So in my room, there's like space under my desk and my bed is right behind me, and there's a big gap under my bed, and there are like little crevices all around my room that if I get usually an even number cube pop, pieces go flying everywhere. I think one cube, I am no longer able to use it because one of the inner pieces fell down the heater / air conditioner and I can't find it. Mean people. That's not just a cubing thing, but 100% agree. Mean people are annoying and, well, mean. Forgetting an algorithm you learned 5 minutes ago is what I think it probably says. That is so true. I feel like trying to use algorithms you've just learned is the educational equivalent of cramming for an exam, and that doesn't always work well. Cramming algs or trying to use algorithms you just learned tends to be pretty difficult. Ooh, judges lifting the cover before I tell them that I am ready. This is really true. A lot of this is because I would say like 30% of your solve is mental, you know, like calming yourself down, calming your breathing, and like saying, okay, I'm ready. And then if the judge takes off the cover before you're ready, you're just like, oh my god, I wasn't ready. Although if the judge does that, you can get an extra solve. When you get a really fast cube, keep using it, and then all your other cubes feel slow. I don't even think it has to be a necessarily fast cube, but when I get new cubes that feel completely different, and then I get used to them either over a week or just doing a bunch of solves, and I go back to anything else, I'm like, ooh, what is this? Even though they're also really good cubes and I can get good times on them. Finding the perfect tension. I think this isn't much of a problem now as it used to be, because a lot of cubes have almost, I don't know what they're called, but like set tensioning systems where if you set all of them to the same like number, they'll all be the same tension. But I definitely spent a lot of time as a really new cuber tensioning my cubes, being like, ooh, if I turn this 45 degrees, Does this feel equal with the other side? How about this side? This one's a little bit uneven. You know, definitely annoying. Getting a +2 on what would be a PB. Although if you're at home, you don't need to count +2s. No, I'm just kidding, but this is really annoying. Any small thing that really deviates you from potentially getting a PB is really annoying because of that other aspect of I literally had it was right there, and then this tiny thing just came in and was like, nope, you can't get a PB today. People who average like 40 seconds and get a gang cube. And I think this is just extrapolated to people who generally aren't extremely fast but spend a lot of money on cubes. I don't necessarily think this is annoying. If people can afford and they want to spend the money on good hardware, I think that is worth it. But I do have a problem if they think that getting a new cube will make them faster, because in the end, they're going to make themselves faster getting a better cube. Unless they're going from a really trashy old cube to something that can actually turn, that would make a difference. But if you go from one flagship to another flagship, there most likely isn't going to be a drastic change in your times. Being sub 2 at home at 3x3 obviously, and getting 10-second averages at competitions. Funny joke, but in general this is also really true. Competitions are a completely different environment than solving in your home, maybe wearing sweatpants and like a t-shirt and just chilling out to some music, maybe watching a TV show. That environment is completely different than being in a room of a ton of people, having judges, having timers, having ambient noise, feeling the pressure of the results being official, that it sometimes can make you solve a lot slower. Putting a pair in the wrong slot. And since I've seen a couple similar ones, I'm going to extrapolate this to doing something really dumb during your solve. And unfortunately, that happens more often than I would like to admit. And you know, when it happens, you just gotta deal with it. Coming close to a cutoff. That is really true. Fortunately, I don't have this issue a lot anymore. Although actually, if I did some events like Pyraminx, I probably would have an issue with a cutoff. But when I started cubing, I think at a competition a long time ago, maybe Princeton 2011, the cutoff for 4x4 was 120. And the first time that I went, I got like a 130, so I did 2 solve, and then the next competition I went, I got a 119, and that made me so happy. I literally just made the cutoff by a second. That probably made the organizers a little bit annoyed because it means I got to do 3 more solves, but you know, I got to do 3 more solves. Someone saying that I am bad at cubing when they cannot even solve a cube. This is really true, and this reminds me of the Dunning-Kruger effect, I think it's called, where someone learning something new for the first time thinks they know everything, and then once you learn more, you realize you know nothing. That's definitely, if someone who can't solve the cube says you're a bad cuber, that is just sort of objectively wrong because you can solve it and they can't. That doesn't make you a better person, obviously, but it makes you a better cuber because you can actually solve it. Squeaky noises. This one is definitely less true nowadays. I feel like all the new cubes that I get don't have an issue. Years ago, a lot of cubes, when you turn them one way, there was like a creaking sound because the spring was rubbing up against the screw and it was like rusty. Very unappealing to the ears, and it gives like a weird feeling to the side. Very annoying. Needing to help you referring to me, find the lost pieces. Yes, thank you. I have found a couple pieces because my sister has helped me find them under my bed, in the desk, under the desk, in random crevices in my room. Ooh, I really like this one. When people think their opinion on a certain cube or brand is fact, hardware is subjective. This is really true. In a non-cubing aspect, this reminds me of like Mac versus Windows. Mac people are diehard Mac fans and Windows people are diehard Windows people, when it's a personal preference thing. One is not objectively better than the other. It's what works for you. And same thing with cubing. There's no one cube that works for everybody, because if it did, it would be the best cube ever and it would be out of stock everywhere. But cubing hardware has gotten so good nowadays, pretty much any flagship cube you buy will be fantastic and do really well for you. Sweaty palms with a angry face. Agreed. One of my most annoying things that I don't like about myself at competitions is that I get nervous, although it has been getting better a lot over the years. The worst is when I'm in a cold room, so my hands are cold, but I'm nervous, so my hands are sweaty. So they're cold and they won't, which means they don't move as quickly as they normally do, and they're sweaty, which means I just have bad grip on the cube. And these two things combined just make me solve like trash, you know? And lastly, non-cubers scrambling the cube for 5 minutes, then giving it to you thinking you can't solve it. That's so true. When people are like, ooh, and they take your cube, they put it behind their back and they're like, I'm gonna scramble it so good you can't solve it. Unfortunately for them, that's not really how it works. So that was a little bit of a fun video. If you want a chance for one of your responses to my questions to be in one of these videos, make sure to follow me on Instagram at danae.cubing. And always little side plugs. If you want to save a little bit of money on cubes, you can get 5% off at thecubicle.com with discount code Dana, or just go to thecubicle.com/Dana. And I have a second channel called The Dana Yee Show. So if you're interested about anything money and finance, I would definitely go check it out. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time.